don't think it's going to come as any great shock to subscribers to my channel when I tell you that I have had a rather rough relationship with the Surface Duo. I have simultaneously loved the thing. I have spent months evangelizing for the thing, and I have also been greatly frustrated by the thing at the same time. And the tone of my videos over the last few months has become decidedly more jaded and more negative. And that's something that I have been thinking about. And I've kind of battled with myself because I know, here's the thing. I know good and well that if I come out and I just lie to you guys and tell you how great the Duo is and tell some people what they want to hear, I would get more views. I would. However, in my mind, I am worthless if I'm not being honest. So that's what I'm always going to be. This is my opinion. This is my experience. Okay, you can like it, love it, hate it, whatever. I don't care. That being said, I don't like being negative, but the problem has been is that the Duo keeps making me feel negative feelings, right? So I go on Twitter this morning, and I see a tweet from Zach Bowden. Not just a normal tweet, nothing weird about it. This is all it is. I'll show you guys what it is. See this tweet. It says, "I'm doing this for a while. Surface Duo can act as a great little HUD for Spotify while sitting at a desk. Always find a new use case for the Duo's mini postures." And I just saw that, and I thought, I just love the Surface Duo so much. I love the form factor so damn much. It brings me such joy to just hold in my hands a device with two discrete screens as this, to be able to launch, two apps side by side. It's just so cool, and it's cooler than anything else that I own in that space. It's cooler than my Z Fold in some ways. I don't know why, because on paper this should be cooler. It's a folding screen, for God's sake. But there's something about the Duo that I just love. When I looked at that tweet, I felt an emotion that could maybe be described as like a yearning, like my heart yearned for my Duo. It's like if you've ever been like in a relationship where like you really liked this person, but you had differences. You just couldn't get along, and you separated. And maybe you run into each other at the grocery store. You see them down the bread aisle, and you look up and you just think, man, what could have been, If not for those differences, what could have been? That's how I feel about the Duo. The Duo is like that partner that I just couldn't quite come to terms with. So I am rambling. So here's what this video is going to be. I'm going to spend a couple of minutes here, and I'm going to give you the most positive things I can about the Surface Duo, because I've spent too much time talking about the negative things, and I think rightfully so. Like I said, I've not ever lied to you guys about anything. I've talked about the good things, but it's been a while since I've talked about them. And we know that Surface Duo 2 or Surface Zeta is right around the corner. So I need to begin doing something. I need to begin getting hyped up again about this form factor, and I need to begin convincing myself that Zeta is going to be worth being excited about. And I'm going to do that by talking about the best things about Surface Duo right now in late May of 2021. So let's jump into that. Here's the obvious one. The dual screen form factor is still my all-time favorite form factor. It is unrivaled in many ways. It is preposterously cool. I love it so much. We're almost a full year in. It still makes me happy. It is still super, super cool. And, the biggest reason is just the simplified nature of the multitasking, right? I've shown this before with my Z Fold, but with this thing, it is just that much easier to launch, any two apps you want. Bing, bang, boom. It's just unrivaled in terms of multitasking. You can replicate some of these things with the Fold, but it's not as good. It just isn't. Multitasking is unmatched. What about the postures? We just talked about Zach Bowden putting his in this position, right? Well, what about, you got tint mode, you've got You've got all sorts of different postures that are really cool. I like the idea that, with my Z Fold, to go back to this for the umpteenth time, I've been using the case that has a kickstand built into it because I like to be able to open it up in tablet mode, drop the kickstand and sit it down on a table this way or that way and use it as a little media station. With the Duo, you don't need anything like that because you can just put it in tent mode. There's your built-in kickstand. How cool is that? Put it on your bedside like this. There's your alarm clock when it goes off. It's going to be facing you. It's going to be right there for you. That's very, very cool. What about if you're going to use it to film something? You're going to film yourself. You're going to shoot a vlog. Set it up like this, and now your camera is pointed straight at you. You have your viewfinder right there pointed straight at you. Or you can hold it like this and film yourself and have your camera here and your video notes here. The form factor is so absolutely unique that it's difficult to even compare it with anything. It just looks cool. It's not copying anybody else. The Surface Duo is the Surface Duo. There's nothing else like it around. I know you can say there's the LG dual screen cases and things like that, but it's not the same because this is just this. The dual screen cases are cases, and they're cool. Don't get me wrong, they're cool. But the Duo is only the Duo. There's nothing else quite like this. They're not chasing anything but their own design, which I think is worth a lot. Let's talk about some places where the Duo has improved. How about gestures? If you remember back in the day, I went as far as to not even use the gestures because they were so inconsistent and so bad. Well, now the gestures are not a problem at all. I would say that they work as well as the gestures on any other phone on the market. You can even say that things like spanning the gesture there works as well as it ever has. I have no complaints with the gestural navigation on the Surface Duo. They have fixed that problem completely for me. If you remember before, the peak mode bug was something I constantly had, which is where if you open the thing a little bit, you get that little peak mode. I had a bug where if I opened it up all the way, I would stay in peak mode and there's no way for me to get out of it. Super frustrating. That seems to be completely gone for me. I haven't seen that in a good while. The black wallpaper bug in the launcher, that seems to be gone. Haven't encountered that in a long time either. Now, there obviously are still some bugs that are present. Watch my last couple of videos to see that. I'm not going to talk about it here because I've talked about it too much, but some bugs have been squashed. Let's give them some credit for that. But back to the hardware, you've got two 4x3 screens that create one large 3x2 aspect ratio screen, and I still think the 4x3 screens are freaking awesome. You've just got more room to work, and if you try to go back at this point to a more narrow screen like what's on the cover of the Z Fold, it does feel restrictive. The Z Fold, this cover, I mean, look, it's good for, if you're scrolling Twitter quickly, you're responding to a text message quickly, things like that, but you're going to be opening it up and using this big old wide screen, and the Duo has two big old wide screens, and that's a good thing. When you're reading text, it doesn't have to wrap as many times, right? So more stuff can fit on that screen in a really nice, satisfying way. And one thing that I think is really cool about it that people don't often talk about is when you're on YouTube and you're going to say, watch a video. Let's pull up a video here. Because the screen is so wide that the video you're going to watch is pretty watchable just in portrait mode. A 16:9 video is pretty solid without even needing to rotate it. I mean, obviously it gets bigger by rotating it, but it's pretty good there. So then you can imagine, you've got a video playing on one screen and you're scrolling Twitter on the other. It's pretty solid like that. And if you wanted to really, experience things in a more pure way, you could even full screen it and be like that. That video, okay, there we go. That video had some letterboxing going on. But yeah, video in landscape, portrait mode. Portrait mode video is really good because the screen is a 4x3 screen. It is extra wide. What about just the hardware in general? It still looks incredible. It is still preposterously thin. This might be the first time I've used the word preposterously twice in one video, but it is true. It is apt. The hinge still feels really, really good. The way it stops at any particular angle. Put it at, I've had no issues with my hinge at all. I've already mentioned that it looks like nothing else and that it's not copying anybody else. The hardware, if you put it in someone's hand and say, just hold this for a minute, open it up, interact with it, look at it. Universally, people look at this thing, they feel it, and they say, wow, this is crazy. This feels fantastic. And then let's talk about the internals. Much maligned internal. Snapdragon 855, 6 gigs of RAM. It wasn't a problem. It still is not a problem. Go back and watch the video where I had the LG V60 ThinQ dual screen, which was running at the time the newest processor on the market with more RAM. I had these two side by side. I'm launching apps back and forth. The Duo held up just fine. It launches apps just as quickly as any other phone. You're not going to pick up another phone and then try and launch, let's see, Instagram. I mean, it's not going to launch things slow. It's just not. This idea that Snapdragon 855 and 6 gigs of RAM is like, oh my God, it's so slow and that's what's caused the Duo's issues. No, that's not the problem in the least. It's not the internals. Go back and watch the video where I literally had PUBG Mobile playing up top and another instance of PUBG Mobile playing down below at the same time with no slowdown. The hardware is still fantastic on the Surface Duo. So I think those are the most positive things I can say about the Duo at this point. If I left something out that you think is a positive point, drop it in the comments down below. If it's a good one, maybe I'll pin it. I'll definitely leave you a little heart symbol if it's something that I do agree with. If I left it off, it may be because I don't think it's a positive. Like you'll notice, I did not mention the camera at all. There's like pretty obvious reasons for that. But at any rate, these are the most positive things I can say about the Duo. I need to get myself into a more positive headspace when it comes to this thing. I need to stop letting the flaws of Generation 1 bring me down and not let it sour me on the improvements of Gen 2, which should be coming very soon. And I can feel myself getting more excited about a second generation Surface Duo and the idea of taking my SIM out of this and putting it into a Surface Duo 2 with all these problems potentially addressed makes me very, very excited. So stay tuned for more content just like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.